He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow them.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Ustad Layla Nashiba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
To perform them the way that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to perform them. And today what I'm going to do is cover one of the prayers, one of the voluntary prayers in particular, which is the Witr prayer. And I did receive a couple of emails from some of the new, couple of the new shahadas asking me if I could detail to them the Witr prayer, and inshallah I will tonight. First of all, before I begin tonight's discussion, I know it's been a minute since we've met for this class, but I want to make sure that you guys know what the Sunnah rakats of the prayers are. So who can tell me what are the Sunnah rakats of the Fajr prayer and when are they performed? What are the Sunnah rakats of the Fajr prayer and when are they performed?
2 before and 2 after, and you perform them after the Adhan, after the Iqamah, and then after you finish your obligatory prayer.
Okay, what do you guys think of her answer? What do you guys think of her answer?
I disagree with her answer.
I couldn't understand you.
I disagree on the, her answer is wrong.
Okay, what do you disagree with?
The Sunnah rakat of Fajr is 2 rakat before, 2 rakat after the Azan of Fajr is called. And it is prayed before the Iqamah of Fajr.
Good job. Exactly, guys. Everybody understand that? I want y'all to write it down again. You got it wrong too, Brother Edward. SubhanAllah. So write it down, Brother Edward. Write it down, Nia. The Sunnah rakats of the Fajr prayer are 2 rakats before Fajr. Before Fajr. And of course, all the Sunnah prayers are, no prayer begins until the Adhan has been called for it. Everybody understand that? Okay, good job, good job, good job, good job. Okay, what about this? What are the Sunnah rakats of the Dhuhr prayer? What are the Sunnah rakats of Dhuhr? The afternoon prayer, the midday, that's what it's called. The midday prayer. Yeah, Dhuhr is, exactly. Dhuhr is, I want y'all to remember, good job with that question, Brother Amir. Dhuhr is the midday prayer. Asr is the afternoon prayer. Remember we talked about that? When you guys read hadiths where first of all in the Quran, where Allah says guard the middlemost prayer, and the hadiths addressing the afternoon prayer, guard it. That's the Asr prayer. The Asr prayer is referred to as the afternoon prayer. The Dhuhr prayer is the midday or the high noon prayer, as we would say here in English here. And so what are the sunnahs? Okay, Brother Khan Mohabit, he said 4 rakats. But when do we pray those 4 rakats? Okay, Sister Nicola, Nicola said 4 rakats before and 4 rakats after. Are those sunans of dhuhr? Do you guys agree with that answer? Can I pray 4 before and 4 after? Yes, you can. Good job, Nicola. And it's good to see you again. Good job, Nicola. You can pray 4 rakats before dhuhr and 4 rakats after. Are there any other sunans of dhuhr?
Yes, you can pray 2 rakat before Zuhr and 2 rakat after Zuhr.
Okay, good job. You can also pray 2 rakats before dhuhr and 2 rakats after too. So Allah gives us variety with the dhuhr prayer. Are there any other sunans of dhuhr?
Or you can pray 4 rakat before Zuhr and 2 rakat after.
Yes, or you could do that, or you could pray 4 rakats before and 2 after. So we have variety with the dhuhr prayer. Okay, variety. There's a variety of sunnah rakats you can pray. Okay, what are the sunnah rakats of Maghrib? Who can tell us that? Good job, Brother Amir. What are the sunnah rakats of Maghrib?
2 after Salatul Maghrib.
Okay, do you guys agree with her answer? She said 2 rakats after after the prayer is made. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Good job. And Sister Khadijah, you got it right too. Exactly. The sunans of Maghrib are 2 rakats after the prayer. Good job. And what are the sunans of Isha? What are the sunan rakats of Isha?
Two rakat after the Isha.
Good job. And good job, Khadijah, too. 2 rak. Good job, Brother Edward, too. Good 2 rak. Good job, Elizabeth. 2 rakats after Isha and 2 rakats after Maghrib. Good job, Elizabeth. So those are the sunnah rakats. Those are the sunnah rakats of the prayer, of the prayers. What about this? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the statement that between every adhan and every iqamah is 2 rakats. What does that mean? Anybody remember what that means when the Prophet said between every adhan and every iqamah are 2 rakats? What does that authentic hadith mean? Sabrine, you got your sound open. You got an answer, Sabrine? Well, I'm just looking at.
Which one was it? Which one was it?
When the Prophet said between every adhan and every iqamah there are 2 rakats, what does that mean? What did he mean by that statement?
In the beginning?
Yeah, what did he mean by it? Anybody else want to help her with that? What did he mean by that statement? Nia, what did he mean when he said between every adhan and every iqamah are 2 rakats? What does that mean, Sister Nia?
Oh, we see. I was just sitting here saying, let me check it in from my house before you go. You go.
Busted.
Okay, I'm not sure, but maybe I would say at least every prayer is 2 rakats at the very least. That's all I can think of.
Okay, that's good. Close. You know, also, these are not known as sunans of a prayer, but the Prophet was saying if you want to pray 2 rakats after the adhan before the iqamah of any prayer, you can. You know, and so that's the hadith I was telling you guys when you see people, because there are no sunans for the Asr prayer. There are no sunans. But we have one hadith in Sahih Muslim where one of the companions said that he saw the Prophet praying 2 rakats after the adhan and before the iqamah of Asr. Those were not sunans. He was doing the 2 rakat soon. It was a sunan, but not the sunnah rakats of Asr. The prophet tried to perform, he tried to pray 2 rakats after every adhan, if he was able to. So those are not sunans of Asr. And also we talked about in regards to the Asr prayer, you'll come upon some more hadiths in Sahih Muslim, where the prophet was seen performing after the Asr prayer, making 2 rakats or 4 rakats, or before the Asr prayer, praying 4 rakats. And those were the sunans of Dhuhr that he missed, because the prophet didn't like to miss the sunnah rakats of Dhuhr. But sometimes he got busy dealing with the people. And so if he was unable to perform the sunnah rakats, he would make them before or after the Asr prayer. But there are no sunnah rakats of Asr. I want every Muslim on the planet listening to me to understand that. There are no sunnah rakats of Asr. I repeat, there are no sunnah rakats. All those hadiths that you're reading are referring to either the prophet making up his missed sunans of Dhuhr, or he was praying the 2 rakats after the adhan that you can do for every prayer. Does everybody understand that? I hope that's clear.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question.
Yes.
So would it be correct would it be correct for me to say, okay, so if someone was asking me about the prayers and what's sunnah and what's not, I would say, there is no sunnah prayer after, for Asr, there's no sunnah prayer, no sunnah rakat. But
don't say the but. Don't even tell them that, because this is why you gotta be careful giving dawah with the tongue. I want y'all to remember, because this is another question I meant to answer earlier from brother Ibrahim here. The brother here asked me a question earlier too, guys. Do we have to go around knocking on doors, passing out flyers to give dawah to people? We are not Jehovah's Witness. We are not LDS. We are not Christians. We're not Kafirs. Dawah is not from it's from your behavior, not your tongue. Nowhere does Allah say that we got to go knocking on doors or trying to tell people about our religion. In fact, you have to be careful. Allah makes Muslims, number one. Number two, if you're not qualified to teach the people the religion, you're going to do more harm than good. You're going to run them away, because we don't tell people about the obligations when you're trying to call them to Islam, because you're going to make them think it's impossible. It's impossible. We only have to pray 5 prayers a day. If they were to ask you what are the sunnah rakats of each prayer, you tell them the sunnah rakats of the prayer. You don't throw in there the stuff that ain't got nothing to do with that prayer. Those 2 rakats after the adhan are not sunnah rakats for no prayer. Those are additional voluntary prayers that a person can pray if they want to. But should you share that information with somebody? No, because you're going to make them think it's impossible. I wouldn't even tell them about the sunnahs, period. I'll tell them to pray 5 times a day. The Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib. Worry about the extra good deeds later on in life. But if it's a Muslim that's been Muslim and said, can you tell me what the sunnah rakats are for the prayers? Just tell them, well, there's 2 rakats before Fajr, 2, 4, or 4 before Dhuhr, 2, 4 after Dhuhr. You tell them that. Don't mention this other stuff, because too much information will make people think their religion is hard. Y'all understand that? And run them away. But as far as knocking on doors, brother, we don't do that. Dawah is from your actions. We don't have to jump up in people's faces. And that's why Allah sent this war here, because the Muslims today are imitating the Kafirs, putting booths up, knocking on doors, passing out pamphlets. We don't pass out pamphlets about Islam. We don't do that. That's what Kafirs do, because we know that Allah makes Muslims, not you, not me. Allah says in the Quran that he's the one that changes the heart of man, not you. You can't do nothing. This is again, we talked about the actions of Allah's lordship. Muslims today do not believe in Allah's actions of lordship. Allah has the power, not you, not me, not America, not Israel. Allah. And there is nobody on planet Earth that ain't heard about Islam because the war is against us. So who do you think you fooling? You just trying to carry on with your Christian Jahiliyyah. And that's what the prophet used to say. A lot of people still have Jahiliyyah in them, the life of this world in them, that pre-Islam in them. We're not Christians. Y'all got to throw that Christianity out the window and stop being a copycat. Stop watching TV. Y'all watch TV. Y'all think y'all supposed to blend in. That's not us. We're supposed to be distinct and unique. Our religion is a way of life that's different than Christians and Jews. It separates us. We're not supposed to blend in with them. We're supposed to stand out over them. But you guys are not doing that. I don't know what's wrong with you people today. You people, I'm shocked. I've been Muslim all my life. I ain't never seen such weak-minded Muslims before in my 63 years. Back in my day, when I was walking around in the 60s and the 70s, you better not imitate no kafir. It was all about being proud of who you are and being different. But you people today, y'all crazy. That's why that war is here. Okay, you got it, brother? But to answer Sister Nia's question, no, don't you just tell them that the Sunnah rakats are 2 before Fajr, 2 or 4 before, 2 or 4 after Dhuhr, 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after Isha. That's it, because those are the Sunnah rakats. Anything else is not a Sunnah rakat. Remember, we talked about how the voluntary prayers fall in 2 categories, specific or general. So if a person is asking you, what are the Sunnah rakats for the prayers? What they're asking you in plain English is, what are the specific voluntary prayers that we do? So you tell them what the specific voluntary prayers are. That 2 rakats after the Adhan is not a specific, it's a general voluntary action. That means, you know, neither here or there. That's why most Muslims ain't even heard of it. Yeah, y'all got it? Okay, good job. You got my answer, brother. Yeah, don't you be sitting around here knocking on people's doors. You go knocking on somebody's door, they're going to pull a gun out and blow your head off. What you going to do then? You had no business at their house. What's wrong with you? Really? Okay, he said that that's what he did. He put some flyers together and the people get mad at him. Yeah, I'd be mad at you too. Do you know how annoying Jehovah Witnesses are? You're nothing but a Jehovah Witness. Do you know how annoying those LDS people and those Jehovah, they knock on your door every Saturday, every Sunday. They never go away. You can't go to the grocery store. They putting stuff in your cart. They following you around talking about Jesus love you. You're no different than they are. I'd be angry too. You're lucky nobody pulled out a gun and blew your head off. It's dangerous.
Excuse me, one time I was in the parking lot waiting for a sister to come out of the store, and the sister came to the car and she got out one of those pamphlets she had put together, and she took it over to a lady who was sitting in her car to give it to her, and the woman started screaming when she saw what it was. Yeah, she started screaming. That woman lucky that they didn't call her a terrorist and blow her behind away. You know, these are some trying times. Muslims are stupid. You know, the prophet said you got to have common sense. When the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that one of the worst sins we can do is imitate the kafirs, he meant that. And that's just what that woman was doing. She must have been a born-again Christian. Maybe she was a Jehovah Witness before Islam. Whatever she was, just like these Muslims with this Mormonism.
We don't have no sister wives. We don't have that crap. We don't have no relationships like that with a man's wife. We don't do that. You guys have got to stop imitating Kaffir. Allah made the rules he made for a reason, because he knows his creation better than we know ourselves. If we lived our lives abiding by Allah's laws and Allah's rules, the world would be a better place. But we'll never do that. We're going to always do just what you guys are doing, imitating Christians. The prophet said that. He said, before the last hour, you Muslims will imitate the Christians in everything they do, to the point where if they were to crawl into a hole, you'd be right behind them. You people marrying and living like them, passing out pamphlets, setting up dawah booths. Little Christians. You're just Christians in a hijab. And that's pathetic. You're just little nuns. I call you little nuns, because you sure ain't acting like the prophet's wives. They wouldn't be doing that garbage. And they didn't go around making friends and trying to find their husbands, wives and stuff. They didn't do that. I mean, that's just against the nature. I mean, people get it together. All right? Okay. Yeah, but did you get the answer, brother? Yeah, don't knock on nobody's door. I don't know what race you are, but if you are African American, they're going to call the police and have you dragged off. You know, black lives don't matter here. They're going to have you dragged off and gunshot, shock you, taser you, throw you in jail for terrorism. Stop behaving.
When the woman started screaming, her husband just came running like, what you doing? What you doing to my mother?
Yeah, you don't do that. And you sisters need to stay home. You women need to stay in your houses. The only dawah you sisters should be doing is giving it to your children. Your dawah is to your children. That's it, not to the streets. But that's what happens when we live in a Western society and imitate them. You want to be a man. You want to have the same equal rights as a man. So you done forgot, the lines are blurred. You done forgot the role of women in Islam. You forgot where your priorities are. Instead of you teaching your children the Fatiha, you out in a parking lot passing out pamphlets, getting blown away. You women better wake up. Take your behinds home and stay in your house and lock the door. That's better for you. Lock yourself up. You want to know why? Because if you lock yourself up, not only are you protecting yourself, but you protecting the rest of the world from your stupidity. That's why Allah says your home is better for you. Any woman or man that stays in their home, this is a blessing, because not only are you safeguarding yourself from the harm of others, he said, but you're safeguarding others from your harm. So you women, stay in your house, lock the door, and tend to your children. And get them dreadlocks out your head. That's haram. Okay, you got it, sisters? So I got on the brothers and the sisters. Equal opportunists. All right. So those, mashallah, but I want y'all to remember those are the specific Sunnah prayers. And now tonight I'm going to answer the question Brother Amir sent me. Also, Brother Edward's been asking about it, and also Sister Sandra. They've been asking me all week about the Witr prayer, and I told them to hold off for tonight. So here it comes. Let me put the PowerPoint up so we can discuss the Witr prayer. Okay. First of all, this is for you, Brother Amir. I started off with you. To answer the question that Brother Amir asked me, Sister Layla, he said, he was in another stream, it's all the brothers do. And the Muslims were arguing as to whether or not it's obligatory to pray the Witr prayer. And he was saying that some of the brothers in Morocco were telling him that it's fard. You know, I think the Moroccans follow the Maliki Method, among other things. Okay. Also, Imam Hanafi, I understand. You know, I heard too that some people say that Imam Hanafi. That's why Islam is not based on none of what of no imam except the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I tell you, brothers, all the time, there's only two sources of Islam. That is the Quran and the authentic hadith. The Madhab's view has nothing to do with anything. You know, we don't follow the sunnah of a Madhab. We follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if something is not clear, we don't look to see what Imam Hanafi and them said. We look to see what the original companions had to say. Because as Allah says, no one understands this religion better than they do. That's why you never see me telling y'all what Imam Malik or Imam Hanafi or Imam this said. But I'm always telling you what Ibn Umar, Ibn Abbas, Aisha, Salama. Because they know, not the rest of those people. So to answer the question, the Witr prayer is not, and I repeat, it is not, I repeat, it is not an obligatory prayer. And I see that this is what the brother is here typing on the screen. Okay, that's why I put this up first. And I want you to understand, Brother Amir, I'm just going to ignore the typing that this dude is doing. I want all my new shahadas to understand something. Whenever somebody tells you that something in Islam is an obligation, or something in Islam is haram, or that you should or must do something, they have to bring the clear evidence. Okay, he put Imam Hanafi. Okay, I want you to look at what he put there. Brother Amir, what he put, read what he put. That's from Imam Hanafi. Is that from Allah? Does it say Allah said? Does it say the Prophet Muhammad said? Does it even say that Ibn Abbas or the companions said? I want you to read. That's Imam Hanafi. He's not a companion. He's not Allah, and he's not the Prophet Muhammad. You got it? So that's not the source. That's not a source. What this brother here is typing is not a source. I'm going to show you what the sources are. And I want you, the brother here that's leading him astray, and it doesn't matter where you went to school, because the school of hard knocks is all over the place. Okay? It doesn't matter who you say you study from. I ain't never heard of none of these people you listed. And I don't care. Even if it was Godzilla himself, I don't care. Even Godzilla cannot out-trump what Allah said. Cannot out-trump what the Prophet Muhammad said. Now, if you were to type here, brother, that Ali said it, or Aisha radiallahu anha said it, that's different. But all these names, these men that you're typing on the screen, you know, they're nobody. I'm just going to be honest. They're nobody. Because Allah said, the best of this nation are those companions who were with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those that came after them, and those that came after them. And none of these men, including Imam Hanafi, are of that 3 generations. So, Brother Amir, my student, watch. This is what sources are. Sources are not what men and women of today said or yesteryear, unless it's those companions. Now, This is what Ali, but first of all, let me start it from the beginning. The Witr prayer is not an obligatory prayer, but it is a prayer that our prophet used to pray. And he would encourage others to do so too. That's a statement that Layla's making. So I made the statement that it's not an obligatory prayer. So since I said it's not, now the burden of proof falls upon me to bring the evidence. The evidence is not what Imam Hanafi said. The evidence is not even what Ibn Taymiyyah said, although he didn't say none of that. But I'm just giving examples. The evidence is not even what Sheikh Kamadama doesn't said. The evidence is either Allah has to have said it, because the only one that has the authority to make obligations is Allah. So it has to either come from Allah or the Prophet Muhammad. Allah tells us in the Quran to obey him and obey his messenger. There's my dalil for that. So now, listen to what Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, said. This was a companion. Imam Hanafi wasn't, but this was a companion. He said the Witr prayer is not required like your obligatory prayers. And where did he get it from? Here it is in your face. Bam! The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would perform the Witr prayer, and he would then say, "O you people of the Quran," and I want the brother here to listen to this. Are you a person of the Quran? If you are a person of the Quran, then you will hear and you will obey. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "O you people of the Quran, perform the Witr prayer because Allah is one and he loves the prayer." So this is a hadith where the Prophet is encouraging, like I said. The Prophet didn't say it's an obligation. I'm getting ready to prove that too. But he did encourage it. Why? Because Allah loves the Witr. And there's my source. The source is not a fatwa from Sufism.com. The source is not a fatwa from alislam.org. The source is not even a fatwa from islamqa.org. The source has to be from the authentic hadiths or the Quran, and bam, there's my sources, and my sources are all sahih, which means good, authentic. So that's the proof that the Prophet encouraged it. Now, where's my dalil for it not being an obligation? That means I have to find a hadith. I have to bring forth a hadith where the Prophet tells us what the obligatory prayers are. Otherwise, it's open for guessing. Well, we have this hadith, whereas one of the companions from the Ansar, who was nicknamed Abu Muhammad, radiyallahu anhu, he made the comment just like this brother is doing. He said the Witr prayer is an obligation. So another companion went to Ibn Asamit, who was one of the companions, and told him what Abu Muhammad said. Listen to what Ibn Abu Samit said. He said, Abu Muhammad is mistaken. For I heard, not Imam Malik, I heard, not Imam Shafi, I heard not even Ibn Taymiyyah, I heard the messenger of Allah say, 5 prayers are ordained by Allah for his servants. Whoever fulfills them properly without any mistake or shortcoming, he will have a pact with Allah, and Allah will admit him into paradise. Whoever does not do them will not have a pact with Allah. And if Allah wills, he may punish him, or Allah may forgive him. And he listed those 5 prayers that are ordained and obligated are Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Bam! In your face. You got that? This is evidence. Evidence is not a fatwa. Evidence is not the 4 imams. Evidence is Allah and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if that's not enough, we have this authentic hadith. Also, this is from Bukhari and Muslim, from Talha, one of the originals. He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, those are the 2 sources. The 2 sources are either Allah or the Prophet. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said 5 prayers during the day and night have been prescribed by Allah. A Bedouin had just converted to Islam, and he asked the Prophet, he said, is there anything else that is obligatory upon me regarding prayer? Listen closely to the Prophet's answer. Again, the Bedouin said, are there any other obligatory prayers? The Prophet said, no. Y'all hear that? No. Y'all see that? No. Unless you want to do voluntary prayer. So there's your dalil. Bam! In your face. And I want you guys to understand, I'm breaking it down like this because I have to. There's so much misinformation about this religion out there. We have Allah has sent war against us, this war. Allah is sending so many calamities to us because we have made Islam strange. I have to let my new shahadas know that no one can come to you and tell you anything about this deen unless they back it up with clear proof from Allah and the Prophet. It ain't nobody else that matters. Like I had to say in one of my classes in the weekend, when Allah speaks, everybody else shut up, including science. When the Prophet speaks, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shut up and hear and obey. And then when those companions, the originals, and the ones after them and them, when those 3 generations, and you have to follow the hierarchy with them, the originals out-trop them all. When they speak, you shut up and take notes. And if we learned the Sunnah, if we learned this religion from the proper sources, you wouldn't have to ever look on the internet for a fatwa, nor would you have to ever go see what Imam Malik and them have to say. I've never followed a madhab, never, ever, ever, and never used none of their answers, their books, because I know the Sunnah. I know the Prophets, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying and doings, and I know what those companions had to say. That's it. Nobody understands this deen better than them. Y'all get it, Brother Amir? So this is why I'm telling you, new shahadas, you guys have to be careful who you are learning your religion from. Just because a man speaks Arabic and graduated from some university in Pakistan don't make him nothing but a man who speaks Arabic, who spent some money and went to school in Pakistan. That's all he is. He ain't God or law. He definitely ain't the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he far from being any companion. So I want all you new shahadas to get in a habit. If they don't give you the clear dalil, the clear proof from the hadith or the Quran, you tell them, thank you, brother, but no thank you. Like I just shut this dude down here. This dude ain't got nothing to say. Because there's nothing he can say. Because none of those people that he named out-trump the prophet. That's why he's quiet. I didn't mute him and I didn't ban him. He ain't typing nothing. He's shutting up. I give him that. If you believe in Allah, you will shut up. He's probably shocked because he was probably taught, since he follows the Hanafi madhab, that's probably what he was taught all his life, that it was an obligation. Well, he's probably shocked to realize it isn't. Islam is easy. You just have to learn it correctly from the right sources. Be careful. I'm going to be honest, Brother Amir. You ain't got no business going nowhere but right here. You need to stay with me. I'm teaching you everything you need to know about your obligations as a man, as a father, a son, a student, a one who fears Allah. So what are you on the internet hopping around from channel to channel? You ain't going to find nobody that's going to teach you what I'm teaching you. Or if they are teaching it, they ain't going to break it down like I'm doing. Because they too busy trying to get followers and make their voices all, and please, brother. All right. Okay. So are we clear on that for my people in Zoom too? Because I don't even know who's in Zoom. But is everyone listening to me on the other social, on Twitch? Where's Twitch? Twitch. Do you guys understand that the Witr prayer is not an obligation? And I didn't make that law. I didn't make that rule. Allah did. Now, the next question that Brother Amir had all week is, what time do we have to pray the Witr prayer? I answered the second question on Friday about, can I pray it after Fajr? Well, all the scholars, that includes Imam Hanafi, they all agree that the time for the Witr prayer does not begin, like I told you guys, until after Isha. Every voluntary prayer begins after that Adhan for whatever it is called. But you have until the Adhan for Fajr to pray any of the night prayers. The night begins at Isha. Y'all remember that, class? Isha is an Arabic word. What does Isha mean? It means night. Layla does not mean night. Layla means midnight. Yes. Isha means night. Okay? So when Isha comes in, you pray your Isha prayer. And if you want to pray any voluntary prayers after that, you can all the way up until Fajr. And again, Layla just made a statement. Since I just made a statement saying what you have to do, what does that mean? That means I have to bring the evidence. I have to bring the hadiths or the verses of the Quran where Allah said it or the prophet said it, not me, because I'm nobody. I'm a peasant. I'm a peon peasant that'll be dead soon. Okay? So, let's see. Look at this hadith here. In fact, let me make it larger because, yeah, I want you, the brother, yeah, here. You can, inshallah, copy and paste it. Screenshot it. Okay, we have this hadith. Whereas one of the companions was addressing the people. He was talking to the people during a Friday khutbah. And he said, Abu Basra told me that the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, here we go. That's how you know they companions, because the companions always take it back to the Prophet. That the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, verily, Allah has added a prayer for you, and it is the Witr prayer. Pray it between Salatul Isha and Salatul Fajr. In other words, pray it any time between Isha and Fajr. And then when the person that told this person that told him that, he took his hand and they went to the mosque. And this companion wanted to verify that this information was correct. That's how the companions were. So they asked Abu Dar, and you guys know who Abu Dar is. He was one of the eminent companions. He said, did you hear the Prophet say that Witr can be prayed between Isha and Fajr? And Abu Dar said, yes, I heard it myself from the Prophet of Allah. So there's your dalil. And it's authentic. So you can pray the Witr prayer anytime after Isha up until Fajr. Also, here's another hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make the Witr prayer during the first part of the night. Sometimes he'd pray it during the middle of the night or the later part. I put this hadith here because Brother Edward wanted to know. Brother Edward said that he was told that he has to go to sleep and wake up for Witr. How many of you have heard that? How many of you, when you were children, your parents would wake you up in the middle of the night? My mother used to do that to me. Well, this is incorrect. Nowhere does Allah or the Prophet Muhammad say that you have to go to sleep and then wake up and do Witr. Witr prayer can be performed anytime after Isha. As this hadith says, sometimes the Prophet would pray it right after Isha. Sometimes he would pray it in the middle of the night, or sometimes the last part. Also, Ibn Abu Qais, and again, this shows that women can teach men, Brother Amir. Brother Amir, you asked me the question about 10 times because too many brothers have told you that it's haram for you to learn from me because I'm a woman. Well, those men don't want you to learn from me because I am not a Sufi woman. That's the problem. Because I'm teaching the opposite of what they're telling you. Because those men that you hanging out with are Sufis. So, of course, they don't want you to learn the true Islam. Well, here's the dalil that a woman can teach. Aisha, radiallahu anha, is one of the best teachers. We have this hadith where Ibn Abu Qais, he tells us that he asked Aisha, just like you always asking me, just like you come here to learn from me. This brother used to sit outside Aisha's door and she would teach and she would answer his questions. He said that he asked Aisha about the Witr prayer of the Prophet, how the Prophet did it. And Aisha told him sometimes he would pray the Witr prayer in the beginning of the night. Sometimes he would pray it in the last part of the night. And then this companion asked her, well, how was his recitation? Would he recite loudly or silently? She said he did both. Sometimes you could hear him and sometimes you couldn't. Sometimes he would take a bath and sleep. Here's my dalil that you don't have to go to sleep. Sometimes he would take a bath and sleep, and sometimes he would make wudu and sleep. Okay, so the Witr prayer, there's your dalil, and there's the source. Imam Muslim is one of the sources of that one. So when people are telling y'all about this religion, they got to give the source. The source is not a fatwa, it's the hadith or the Quran. Those are the only two sources of Islam, and they have to be authentic hadiths. The Sufis, they don't deal with authentic hadiths. They deal with a lot of hadiths that are not authenticated, okay? Again, what about this? You're a person that has to go to work in the morning. You have to get up at 5 o'clock, but you want the blessings of Witr. Do you have to wake up at 3 to make it? No. It's preferred that you pray it before you go to sleep. Now, if you're a person like me, who's a night owl, and you're up all night, take a break from the television and make it. But no, you don't have to pray it late. Let me give you more dalil for that. Well, who were the best of this nation? I want every Muslim listening to me to understand the best of this nation after the Prophet Muhammad is Abu Bakr and then Umar. Nobody on this planet and nobody after them understood this religion better than Abu Bakr and Umar. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the first person, what's the source? Sahih Bukhari. He said, the first person who will enter paradise after me will be Abu Bakr. And the second person that will enter paradise after me will be Umar. So they were the best of this nation and still are and always will be. I want to share this hadith with you guys. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the mosque and he went to Abu Bakr and he asked him, he said, Abu Bakr, when do you pray the Witr prayer? For those of you who don't know, Abu Bakr was a businessman. He used to work. He would go to bed early and he would get up after Fajr and he would go out and sell his goods. He was a merchant. So he didn't stay up late at night. He used to go to sleep early. Whereas Umar, radiallahu anhu, was like me. He was a night owl. Umar would like to, would stay up all night and sleep after Fajr. Well, the Prophet went to Abu Bakr. He said, when do you perform the Witr prayer? Abu Bakr said, I pray it in the beginning of the night, right after Isha. He said, I make the Witr prayer after Isha. And then Umar walked by and the Prophet asked him, he said, when do you perform the Witr prayer, Umar? Umar said, I pray it during the last part of the night. The Prophet smiled. He said, as for you, Abu Bakr, you have taken the easy, careful way. Because like I said, Abu Bakr would go to bed early, and wake up early. So rather than miss the Witr prayer, Abu Bakr would pray it before he went to sleep. But Umar, the Prophet looked at Umar and said, you have taken the way of hardship and firm will, strong will. Umar was a nighthawk. So Umar would postpone praying the Witr until the last part of the night. And that's hard to do because you just might end up forgetting or fall asleep. So, but the point of this hadith is this, and this hadith is authentic. You do not have to go to sleep and wake up to make Witr. If you're a person that has to get up early for work, you make your Isha prayer and then make your Witr prayer and go on to sleep. That's what Abu Bakr would do. Does everybody understand that? And this hadith is from Sahih Muslim. It's authentic. And our Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we already talked about how Aisha, radiallahu anha, said sometimes he prayed it in the beginning of the night, the middle, or the last part. He would try to pray it during the last part. Why? Let me explain to you new shahadas why it is that the prophet tried his best to pray it during the last third of the night. Remember the hadith we talked about in our Aqidah class. Every night during the last third of the night, Allah descends to the lowest heaven, the lowest sky, and he raises out his hands and he asks, is there anyone here who needs something from me? So that's the best time to supplicate. That's the best time to make dua. So that's why the prophet would try to do it during the last third, because the last third of the night is when Allah comes down to the lowest sky. Okay? But you have all night. You have up until Fajr. Like I said, Abu Bakr didn't stay up for the last third. You know, he had to go to work. He had to take care of his family. Okay, so you still get the reward, you know, even if it's not during that last third. Okay? Listen to Aisha again, radiyallahu anha. She said, out of the entire night, the Prophet of Allah would sometimes perform the Witr prayer during the early part. Sometimes he would do it during the middle part, and sometimes the later part right before Fajr. So there's my dalil. And this is how a true person of knowledge, Brother Amir, a true person of knowledge, when they're talking about this deen, they're going to do just like I'm doing. They're not going to speak without having their dalil to back them up. I know these hadiths by heart. I memorized them. Okay? But I still use PowerPoint so y'all can see that I ain't making it up. And I always put my sources. Okay? This is from the group. What does that mean? From all of the sitta. Okay? You can find that hadith in all the sitta. Okay, then we have this hadith from Sa'id ibn Waqas. He would pray Salatul Isha in the Prophet's mosque, and let me talk about this hadith before I get explain it. Let me open it. This is for the people in my Zoom room. One of my students in the Zoom room asked me, Sister Layla, how many rakats should the night prayer be? How many rakats should the night prayer be? You can pray anywhere from 1 rakat to however many you want to. And every time I tell y'all pray 1 rakat, people say she crazy, because nobody's ever heard of anybody praying 1 rakat. Well, I pray 1 rakat all the time. My witr is always 1 rakat after Isha. And I ain't the only one. The companions, some of the companions. Here's my dalil on that. I put this up here for, who was it? Sabrine or somebody? I think it might have been Sabrine. Wanted to know about how many rakats for the night prayer. Well, here we go. I want y'all to pay attention and screenshot this hadith. Sa'id ibn Abu Waqas, he would pray the Isha prayer in the Prophet's mosque. And then after praying the Isha prayer, he did like Layla. He would pray 1 rakat. And he wouldn't make no other rakats with it. So one day the people came to him and asked him, they said, why do you pray the Witr prayer with just 1 rakat? Why don't you do 2 or 3 like other people do? He said, because I heard the Prophet Sallallahu alayhi wasallam say, the one who does not sleep until he makes the Witr prayer is prudent. So I make 1 rakat before I go to sleep. There you go. So all you have to do is pray 1 rakat. And I remember it was Sabrine, because Sabrine was sick. And I remember Sabrine said, I wanted to do my, night prayer, but I can't do them. I'm so dizzy, don't know how many rakats. I told Sabrine, just pray 1 rakat. You're too sick. You done had a stroke. You don't know what's going on. You want to pray your night prayer? Then just do 1 rakat after Isha and call it a day. There's your dalil. So you don't have to do. Allah made this religion easy, guys. Allah loves for us to do the voluntary deeds according to our capability. Why would you sit there and try to pray 3 rakats when you don't even know your name? Like I told Sabrine, you make your Isha prayer, Sabrine, and then you make 1 rakat and call it a night. That's it. You done made the night prayer and you done did your 5 obligatory ones. You're done. Just 1 rakat. Okay, the brother Amir said he didn't know that. Yeah, see, this is what happens, brother Amir, when you learn the religion correctly. You see the ease in it, the ease of Islam. These other brothers making the deen hard on you. Also, let's talk about the rakats the Prophet used to pray. And as I just showed you, you can pray 1. It's permissible to perform the witr by praying just the 1 rakat, like I just went over, or you can pray more. But I want y'all to remember, when it comes to the sunnah prayers, remember that hadith we went over 3 weeks ago? The Prophet said, make your sunnah prayers different than the obligatory. So that's why the sunnah prayers are prayed in sets of 2s. So let's say you want to do the witr, but you want to do more than 1 rakat. So you're going to pray 2 rakats. And then when you're done with those 2, you give salams, then you stand up, Allahu Akbar, and pray 1 rakat. Y'all see? But check this out. I'm getting ready to blow your mind. You can perform the witr by praying 2 rakats and ending them, and then praying 1 rakat with the tashahhud and taslim. That's what I just said. Or you can pray all the rakats with 2 tashahhuds and 1 taslim. What does that mean? That means if you want to pray those 3 prayers together, you can. But the Prophet said it's best to make your witr different than the maghrib. But if you want to pray 3 rakats and just give a tashahhud and the 2nd and 3rd, you can. But it's best to do it the first way. But it's acceptable the other 2. Also, you can pray a number of rakats one after another without making any tashahhud. Y'all hear that? Until you get to the last rakat. Oh yeah. How many of you seen people do that? They're making the night prayer. They do 1 rakat, no tashahhud. Okay? You can do that. You can do as many rakats as you want without making any tashahhud. And then when you get to your last rakat, that's when you do a tashahhud. And then you can do that and taslim out. This is permissible. It's all voluntary prayer. I'm going to give y'all a dalil too. Also, you can also make only 1 tashahhud and the taslim in the last rakat. And all of this is traced back to the Prophet. There is dalil for all of it. I'm getting ready to give it to you now. Bam. Wait a minute. This is from Tirmidhi. It has been related that from the Prophet that he would perform the witr prayer with 13, 9, 7, 5, 3, or 1 rakat. You will find these hadiths in Tirmidhi and other places too. We have hadiths where sometimes the Prophet would do 13 rakats for his night prayer, 9 rakats, 7 rakats, 5 rakats, 3 or 1. That's my dalil about that 1 again. How would he do them? Well, the prophet said always end your prayers with 1 rakat to make it odd. Okay, so he would praise, for example, in sets of 2s. 2 rakats, taslim out, 2 rakats, taslim out, 2 rakats, taslim out, and then 1 rakat. That's 5. So now y'all get the way y'all see the imam doing it for the Taraweeh. On the other hand, listen to what Ibn Ibrahim holds. He said, the meaning of the statement that the prophet prayed 13 rakats of witr is that during the night he would pray 13 rakats, including the witr. And so all the night prayer came to be known as witr. Yeah, which means odd number. Okay, that's the same thing I just explained. This is what Ibn al-Qayyim said. He said, the clear and authentic sunnah is to pray the witr with 5 or 7 connected rakats, as reported by Salama. We went over this hadith the other day. Salama said that the prophet would perform the witr with 5 or 7 rakats without breaking them apart with taslim. So that's the same thing. You can just do the same way the imam does during Ramadan. When you go to the mosque during Ramadan for the Taraweeh, the imams are usually following this sunnah. Okay? And there's the dalil. So, how many rakats can I pray for my night prayer? Anywhere from 1 to however many you want to. Just make sure that when you're done praying, you make it an odd number by praying 1 more. But if I'm doing 1 rakat, all I got to do is 1. That's odd. Allah is odd. Allah is 1. That's it. I'm done. Like I told Sabrina, make 1 rakat, you good to go. But if you want to do 103, you can do 103. We got hadiths where sometimes the companions would do 23 rakats. Umar did 23 rakats one time. So you can pray as many rakats as you want during the night, but when you're done praying, do 1 rakat to end it. Okay? And again, as mentioned, Bukhari and Muslim quote Aisha saying that the prophet would perform 13 rakats during the night and make the witr with 5 of them, and he would not sit during those 5 except in the last, which is what y'all see happening. And that's the same hadith, just repeating over. Also, can you pray sitting? That's another question that Sister Sandra asked. Sister Sandra, yes. Remember we talked about that. The voluntary prayers, how do they differ from the obligatory prayers? You don't have to stand for them. So Sister Sandra, since you had your foot done, you can't get on the floor because your foot is in a cast because you broke your foot at your job. You can sit and pray your witr. You can sit and pray any of the voluntary prayers, even if your foot wasn't broken. Does everybody understand that? Also, last thing about the witr. Big argument. The brother was asking me, is it an obligation to recite the Dua Qunut? No, it's a sunnah. It's a sunnah, which means I ain't got to do it. It's from the sunnah to recite the Qunut in the witr prayer all year round. That's a sunnah, but you don't have to do it. And where's my dalil? Ali. Hassan ibn Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. This is the Prophet's grandson. He said, the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, taught me the following words to say in the witr prayer. O Allah, guide me among those whom you have guided. Grant me protection among those who you've given protection. Take me into your charge among those whom you've taken into your charge. Bless me in what you have given me. Protect me from the evil that you have decreed. For you decree and nothing is decreed for you. And there is no humiliation for whom you take as a ward. Blessed and exalted are you, our Lord. Okay. So this is what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's grandson said. It's from the Sunnah to recite the Qunut and Witr. But do you have to? No. No, you don't have to. But if you know it and want to, you can. All right. So, see, how is the Qunut made? I put this on here too and forgot. It is permissible to make the Qunut before bowing. Yes, this was another argument. I got it here, Edward. Yes, as you see, here's your Dalil, Eddie. It is permissible to make the Qunut before going into the bowing, or it may be recited when you stand up straight after bowing. Humayd says, I asked Anas, is the Qunut before or after the ruku', which is the bowing? He said we would do it before or after. So there's the answer. Both of y'all are right. It's either or. If you want to recite the Qunut before you bow, you can. Or you can recite it when you stand up. It's either or. There it is. This is authentic. There's the source. If you make the Qunut before the bowing, you should make the takbir and raise your hands after the recitation. And then make another takbir after the Qunut and then bow. This is related by the companions. And I'm going to put all this up here so you can screenshot. There's my sources. As for wiping your face and hands, I keep telling you guys, this is not from the Sunnah. None of the companions did that. The companions did not wipe their faces during the prayer. Neither did the Prophet Muhammad. So we don't do that either. That's all that Sufism. That's that Sufism again, Brother Amir. But take a screenshot of this. This tells you how it's done. Let me know when you got that screenshot. Okay, and that's everything. That's all you need to know about the Qunut.